March 5th, 2012. Boom! A flashbang shatters the darkness. 12 FBI agents storm a narrow apartment, laser sights locked on a 27-year-old in pajamas. He's no terrorist, just a skinny hacker with messy hair. But here's what makes this raid insane. The FBI didn't catch him, they created him. For 7 months, agents watched this kid steal 5 million emails from a private intelligence firm so powerful it's called the Shadow CIA. They saw every attack and every stolen file. They could have stopped it any day. Instead, they let it happen because the hacker's most trusted friend was their informant. Those emails exposed how corporations spy on activists, how defense contractors sell government secrets, how a shadow state answers to no one. Generals, CEOs, diplomats, all caught. The FBI didn't send a tactical team for what he stole. They sent it for what he knew. How did the FBI manufacture their own case? And what secrets cost this hacker 10 years? 2001. Before Jeremy Hammond became the FBI's most wanted hacktivist, he was a 16-year-old in a Chicago suburb building websites for local anarchist groups. He organized walkouts against the Iraq War at his high school. He started underground newspapers to expose what he saw as corruption. By 19, he'd co-founded a hacker collective called Hack This Site, designed to teach people computer security. By 22, he was sitting in federal prison. His crime? Hacking a right-wing group called Protest Warrior and using their members' credit cards to donate $5,000 to the Red Cross and other charities. The FBI called it fraud and identity theft. Jeremy called it wealth redistribution at the speed of a click. He served 2 years at a federal correctional facility in Greenville, Illinois, and came out angrier than before. Prison hadn't reformed him. It had radicalized him. Now it's 2011. Jeremy is 26, living in a cluttered Chicago loft, surviving on coffee and code. The apartment smells like stale pizza and soldering flux. Computer equipment covers every surface. The FBI has a file on him thicker than most career criminals. He's classified as a recidivist hacker, someone who will offend again. To them, he's a threat to be monitored. To the underground, he's a legend, the guy who went to federal prison for hacking and didn't snitch, didn't break, and didn't apologize. That reputation is about to make him a target for the biggest setup of his life. But he doesn't know that yet. Right now, Jeremy is watching Occupy Wall Street unfold on his laptop, watching police in riot gear pepper spray peaceful protesters, watching banks receive trillion-dollar bailouts while families lose their homes to foreclosure. Something shifts in him. Petty website defacements aren't enough anymore. Pranking local targets feels like throwing pebbles at a tank. He wants to hit the system where it actually bleeds, in the vaults where power hides its secrets. If you want to understand how deep this conspiracy goes, hit subscribe, because what Jeremy discovered inside Stratfor's servers will change how you see every major corporation and every intelligence agency. September 2011. Jeremy joins Anti-Sec, a militant faction of Anonymous dedicated to one thing: stealing and publishing the secrets of the powerful. These aren't keyboard warriors tweeting hashtags. They're hackers who breach government servers and dump classified files online for the world to see. In encrypted IRC chat rooms, Jeremy operates under aliases like Anarchaos and Sup_G. He quickly earns respect by cracking systems others won't touch, infiltrating secure networks with the calm precision of a surgeon. Each successful breach is like solving a complex puzzle, and Jeremy loves puzzles. But one user stands out in the chat rooms: Sabu. Sabu is everywhere, always online at odd hours, always ready with targets, always pushing the crew to go bigger and hit harder. He talks like a true believer, an anarchist ready to burn the system down. He becomes Jeremy's mentor, his confidant, and his closest ally in the digital underground. They spend hours discussing tactics, sharing exploits, and planning operations. And the whole time, Sabu has been working for the FBI. The Bureau arrested Hector Xavier Monsegur, Sabu's real name, on June 7, 2011, at his apartment in a New York City public housing project. He faced charges that could have put him away for 124 years. He had 2 young cousins in his legal custody, children who depended on him. The threat of leaving them alone broke him faster than any interrogation technique. Within 24 hours, Sabu agreed to become an informant. From that moment, every conversation in anti-sec flowed through FBI servers. Every target Sabu suggested was logged by federal agents in real time. Every operation was monitored. The Bureau set up surveillance equipment in an adjacent apartment. They gave Sabu a dedicated laptop to record every keystroke, every file transfer, every word of encouragement he offered to Jeremy Hammond. Jeremy had no idea he was being guided into a trap by the one person he trusted most. So when Sabu mentioned a target called Stratfor in October 2011, Jeremy listened very carefully. What was Stratfor hiding that made it worth the FBI's time to let their informant push a hacker toward it? And why would the Bureau allow a crime to happen when they could have stopped it at any moment? Stratfor, Strategic Forecasting, Inc., is based in Austin, Texas. On paper, it's a geopolitical intelligence publisher. Subscribers pay for reports on global affairs, analysis of elections, conflicts, and even economic trends. Corporate executives and government officials read their newsletters over morning coffee, but whispers in hacker circles call it the private CIA, and for good reason. Stratfor holds contracts with the Department of Homeland Security, the Marine Corps, Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, Dow Chemical, Coca-Cola, and dozens of other Fortune 500 companies. Unlike the actual CIA, Stratfor operates without congressional oversight, without FOIA requests, without any public accountability whatsoever. Their analysts include former intelligence officers from the CIA, NSA, and Defense Intelligence Agency, who now sell secrets to corporations rather than governments. Jeremy digs deeper into their public filings and job postings. Internal listings reveal Stratfor actively recruits from intelligence agencies, offering salaries that dwarf government pay. Client testimonials show they brief executives on everything from terrorism threats to labor union activity to environmental activism. Former employees describe a culture of secrecy more intense than many government agencies. The more Jeremy reads, the faster his heart beats. This isn't just a consulting company. It's a shadow intelligence network serving the highest bidders, and it operates in complete darkness. If he can crack Stratfor, he won't just embarrass a corporation. He'll expose the entire architecture of private espionage that serves the powerful while remaining invisible to the public. Jeremy tells his crew in encrypted chat. Some warn him off. Stratfor's security is serious. The clients include defense contractors and intelligence agencies. The blowback could be extreme. One hacker says to him, "You're poking a hornet's nest with nuclear hornets." But Sabu pushes hard. "This is the one," he types. "This is how we change everything. This is how we show the world what's really happening behind the curtain." Jeremy trusts him. He has no reason not to. Sabu has been a loyal comrade for months, always there, always supportive. So Jeremy locks the target. He starts reconnaissance, mapping Stratfor's network architecture, probing for vulnerabilities, testing their defenses. Every step is documented in chat logs. Every move is watched by FBI agents in New York. They could have stopped it at any point. A single warning to Stratfor would have shut it down, but they chose to let it proceed. What exactly was in those 5 million emails that made this hack worth more to the government than stopping it? And what would Stratfor's powerful clients do when they discovered their darkest secrets were about to go public on WikiLeaks? December 6th, 2011. While Americans crowd shopping malls buying Christmas gifts, Jeremy Hammond begins the most consequential hack of the decade. He spent weeks probing Stratfor's digital perimeter, running reconnaissance scripts late into the night, mapping every server and testing every entry point. Now he's found the crack, an SQL injection vulnerability in their web application. It's a basic flaw, the kind that gets patched by a junior, the kind that shouldn't exist in a company selling intelligence services to the Pentagon and Fortune 500 corporations. But it does. Stratfor's IT team missed it, and Jeremy slips through like it is butter. No alarms, alerts, or security teams scrambling to block him. Inside Stratfor's network, he moves with surgical precision. He finds an administrator account protected by a weak password, the kind of password a teenager would use for their email. He escalates to root access, full control. The so-called shadow CIA just handed their keys to a 26-year-old in a Chicago apartment. Jeremy can now access every server, every database, every file in their entire system. What Jeremy finds next stops him cold. Folders organized by client name and target, dossiers on activist groups, surveillance reports on private citizens. He opens one folder, detailed intelligence reports on Occupy Wall Street. Stratfor had been monitoring protesters across the country for paying clients, tracking their movements through social media, documenting their organizational plans, and identifying leaders for further surveillance. Another folder are dossiers on Bhopal disaster survivors. Dow Chemical, the company that bought Union Carbide after the 1984 gas leak that killed at least 3,800 people and injured over 500,000, hired Stratfor to spy on victims and activists seeking justice. They wanted to know who was organizing lawsuits, who was talking to the media, and who might cause problems for their public image. Another folder, Coca-Cola paid for intelligence on PETA and animal rights activists. Stratfor monitored their communications, their protest plans, and even their internal disagreements. The scope is staggering. This isn't corporate security. It's a private surveillance apparatus targeting anyone who threatens corporate profit or embarrasses powerful clients. Jeremy and his anti-sec crew work through the night, siphoning data across encrypted channels. They pull customer databases containing personal information on subscribers. They download email archives going back years. They copy financial records, internal wikis, strategic planning documents. In one database, they find 60,000 credit card numbers belonging to Stratfor subscribers, military officers, intelligence contractors, defense executives, corporate security directors, and government officials. The list reads like a who's who of the national security establishment. But the real payload is the emails. 5 million of them. An ocean of internal communications that will take years to fully analyze. Stratfor analysts discussing classified government operations like office gossip, sharing intelligence that should never leave secure facilities. One email chain claims that Pakistan's ISI, their intelligence service, knew Osama bin Laden's location before the Navy SEAL raid that killed him. Another thread details how Stratfor successfully courted Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu as an intelligence source, cultivating him for years. A third exchange shows Stratfor executives strategizing about how to destroy WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange. Move him from country to fucking bankrupt the arsehole, one executive writes. Another jokes about making Assange a prison bride. They discuss tactics to discredit him, to exhaust his legal resources, to make his life a living hell. Jeremy reads until his eyes burn and the sun comes up. Then he makes a decision that will seal his fate and change the course of his life forever. The hackers don't just steal the data, they decide to burn Stratfor's infrastructure to the ground. If they're going to expose this shadow network, they're going to make sure Stratfor can't just patch their servers and pretend nothing happened. They wipe databases, they shred backup files, they deface the company homepage with a message announcing the hack, and in a twist of irony that will later be used against Jeremy in court, they start charging donations to those 60,000 stolen credit cards, thousands of dollars to the Red Cross, thousands to Save the Children, thousands to humanitarian organizations, all charged in the names of Stratfor's elite clients, generals, defense executives, and corporate spies. By the time credit card companies freeze the accounts, they've racked up over $700,000 in charges. It's a symbolic gesture, using the money of the surveillance class to help people their clients would never care about. But prosecutors will call it theft. They'll use it to add years to Jeremy's sentence. But the real bomb isn't the credit card fraud, it's the emails. 5 million messages, an ocean of intelligence too vast to analyze alone, too important to dump randomly online where it might get buried. They need a platform with global reach. They need an organization that knows how to verify, redact sensitive personal information, and publish responsibly. They need WikiLeaks. By late December, Jeremy arranges the handoff through encrypted channels, coordinating with intermediaries who will get the archive to Julian Assange's team. The Stratfor files will be packaged, verified, and released systematically to maximize their impact. It's the point of no return. The moment those emails hit WikiLeaks servers, Jeremy transforms from a hacker into a national security threat in the eyes of every intelligence agency. Every powerful corporation named in those emails will want his head. Every government official exposed will want him silenced. But he doesn't know that his trusted confidant Sabu has already given the FBI copies of everything. Every file Jeremy thought he was sending to WikiLeaks was simultaneously copied to federal servers. Every message he exchanged about the handoff was logged in FBI case files. The trap is almost complete. What intelligence did they extract before WikiLeaks published a single document? And what did they find that made prosecuting Jeremy worth more than ever stopping the hack in the first place? Early 2012. Sabu never stopped watching, and the FBI watched the Stratfor hack unfold like a movie, recording everything. They could have stopped it at any moment with a single phone call to Stratfor's security team, but they chose not to. Because the FBI wanted something more valuable than one arrest. They wanted the entire network mapped out, every participant identified, and every connection documented. And perhaps they wanted to see what secrets Stratfor was hiding too. After all, those emails contained intelligence that interested the government as much as it interested journalists. After the Stratfor hack succeeds, Sabu keeps pushing. Stratfor was just the beginning, he tells Jeremy in encrypted chat. Think bigger. There are targets all over the world. He starts dropping lists of foreign servers with known vulnerabilities. Government websites in Brazil, Turkey, Iran, Syria. These aren't random suggestions. Sabu is steering Jeremy toward specific systems that the FBI apparently wants compromised. Jeremy, high on the victory of the Stratfor breach and trusting his mentor completely, takes the bait. Over the following weeks, he hacks into foreign government systems, sites that Sabu pointed him toward. He doesn't realize each breach is effectively an off-the-books FBI operation being conducted through an unwitting proxy. As Jeremy later said bitterly from prison, "They call me a threat to national security, but an FBI informant was telling me what to hack." The Bureau was using a 26-year-old anarchist as an unwitting cyber weapon against foreign governments, conducting operations they couldn't officially sanction, while simultaneously building a case to destroy him in court. January 2012. The net tightens around Jeremy Hammond without him knowing it. He hasn't slept properly in weeks. His Chicago apartment is a disaster. Empty energy drink cans piled on every surface, computer equipment humming constantly, blinds drawn against the winter light. Every night he peers through the slats at the quiet street below, half expecting black SUVs to roll up at any moment. The paranoia is getting to him. He's making mistakes, spending too long online, trusting people he shouldn't, leaving traces that a careful investigator could follow. But whenever doubt creeps in, Sabu is there with reassurance. "Don't worry. We're safe. Our operational security is solid. They can't touch us. Keep the faith, brother." Jeremy believes him. Why wouldn't he? Sabu has been his most reliable comrade for months, always online when Jeremy needs advice, always ready with encouragement when the pressure feels overwhelming. Jeremy has no idea that every word of reassurance is being typed under FBI supervision. Agents are likely reading those messages in real time, watching their informant maintain the illusion of brotherhood while they build an airtight case. By February, the Bureau has everything they need: chat logs documenting the entire Stratfor operation, stolen files that Jeremy transferred through Sabu's compromised channels, evidence of additional hacks against foreign governments that Sabu himself suggested. They're just waiting for the perfect moment to spring the trap. March 5th, 2012. WikiLeaks is about to publish the first batch of Stratfor emails, the global intelligence files release that will dominate headlines worldwide. Once that happens, Jeremy will know his work has gone public and might try to disappear, flee the country, and destroy evidence. The FBI needs to move before the release.
No mistakes?
The night before the raid, Sabu signs off casually in chat, like any other night. Then he steps outside his New York apartment, where an FBI handler gives him the nod. It's happening. In Chicago, a strike team is already en route to Jeremy's address, staging equipment and reviewing tactical plans. Jeremy goes to sleep that night not knowing his closest friend has just signed his arrest warrant. What happens when a hacker discovers his mentor was his betrayer all along? And how does a rigged courtroom ensure he never sees anything resembling justice? 6:47 a.m. FBI agents throw flashbangs inside Jeremy's house. Then agents drag Jeremy out in handcuffs as his neighbors watch from doorways. Hours later, he's in a federal holding cell, scanning the criminal complaint against him. His eyes lock on a phrase repeated throughout: CW1, Confidential Witness 1. The transcripts quote his private conversations word for word. Then it hits him. CW1 is Sabu, his mentor, his confidant, the man who pushed him toward Stratfor, who guided every step and who told him they were safe. The betrayal is total. The next day, WikiLeaks begins publishing the global intelligence files. Headlines explode worldwide. Corporations spying on activists, private firms with access to classified intelligence, backroom deals between spies and executives. Stratfor's CEO resigns in disgrace. But Jeremy is in a cell, watching his work make history while federal prosecutors sharpen their knives. They charge him under the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act, the same law that would later drive Aaron Swartz to end everything. They allege $5 million in damages. They paint him as a cyber terrorist, not a whistleblower. And then the case gets assigned to Judge Loretta Preska. Here's where it gets darker. Judge Preska's husband was a Stratfor client. His personal information was in the leaked emails. The judge presiding over Jeremy's case was directly connected to the hack's victims. Jeremy's lawyers file for recusal. Preska dismisses it as inconsequential and stays on the case. Let that sink in. The hacker who exposed Stratfor will be sentenced by a judge whose family was exposed by the hack. The system isn't even pretending to be fair. Meanwhile, questions emerge about the FBI's role. Articles reveal Sabu wasn't just an informant. He actively directed hacks on foreign governments. Civil liberties groups demand answers. Did the Bureau cross into entrapment? Prosecutors brush it aside. Sabu gave opportunity. Jeremy chose to act. It's a paper-thin distinction. But entrapment defenses rarely succeed, especially when the defendant embarrassed powerful people. Facing decades in prison, Jeremy makes a calculation. He pleads guilty to 1 count of conspiracy. In exchange, his sentence is capped at 10 years. At his plea hearing, he refuses to apologize. "I did what I believe is right," he tells the court. Pentagon Papers whistleblower Daniel Ellsberg sends a letter of support. Protesters rally outside, but none of it matters. November 15th, 2013. Sentencing day. Judge Preska calls Jeremy's actions nothing high-minded. She gives him the maximum, 10 years in federal prison, plus 3 years supervised release. Supporters gasp, some even cry. Jeremy stands as guards approach. He raises his cuffed fist and shouts across the courtroom, "Long live Anonymous!" Then the door closes behind him. He's 28 years old. He won't breathe free air again until he's nearly 37. How does a decade in maximum security change a man? And did the secrets he exposed actually change anything at all? The Bureau of Prisons scatters Jeremy across the country. The Metropolitan Correctional Center in New York, federal facilities in Kentucky, maximum security units designed to break inmates through isolation. For long stretches, he's held in communications management units, the most restrictive prisons in the federal system, typically reserved for terrorists. No internet access, unmonitored phone calls, or mail. The government doesn't just want Jeremy locked up, they want him silenced, cut off from the activist community that views him as a hero. But Jeremy reads. He devours books on anarchist theory, labor history, and political philosophy. He writes letters to supporters who've organized Free Hammond campaigns across the country. He thinks about whether any of it mattered. And outside the prison walls, the Stratfor emails keep detonating like time-delayed bombs. Journalists spend years mining those 5 million messages. The revelations never stop. One email chain shows Stratfor analysts discussing how to help the Somali government fight pirates, while another reveals the company took money from associates of those same pirates. The company claimed to be neutral intelligence gatherers. The emails proved they'd work for anyone with a checkbook. Ethics be damned. Congressional hearings followed the publications. Investigative reporters won awards for their coverage. Major corporations quietly distanced themselves from Stratfor's tainted brand, canceling contracts and scrubbing references from their websites, all because of files Jeremy Hammond stole on a December night in 2011. But here's the darker truth. The industry he exposed has only grown. Since 2011, private intelligence firms have multiplied. Companies like Palantir, yes, that Palantir, Black Cube, and Psy Group now offer the same services Stratfor did: surveillance, opposition research, and corporate espionage, with even more sophisticated tools. The shadow state didn't collapse when Jeremy exposed it. It evolved, professionalized, and went deeper underground. The question that haunts every whistleblower haunts Jeremy too. Did any of it matter? Maybe. Millions of people learned how private spies operate. Activists got smarter about security. Journalists gained a roadmap for investigating corporate surveillance. The Stratfor hack became a case study in how easily power operates without accountability, and what it takes to expose it. Jeremy paid the price so that knowledge could exist. Whether that's worth 10 years of a man's life depends on what you believe information is worth. Late 2020. After 8 years with good behavior credits, Jeremy Hammond finally walks out of federal prison. He's 35 years old now. Gray streaks his hair. Lines mark his face that weren't there in 2012. A decade of concrete walls and fluorescent lights has aged him, but the fire in his eyes remains. A small crowd waits outside the facility. Supporters who followed his case since the beginning. Activists who wrote him letters throughout his imprisonment. Journalists who covered his trial. Some have been waiting a decade for this moment. Jeremy raises a hand in acknowledgement. The same gesture he made in chains at sentencing, but quieter now. He's barred from touching computers without permission from his parole officer. He can't leave the country. He'll be watched and monitored for years, but he can breathe air that doesn't smell like industrial cleaner. Jeremy Hammond proved that secrets can be stolen, that the powerful can be exposed, that one person with a keyboard can crack open institutions that thought themselves untouchable. But he also proved the cost. The FBI turned his own friend into a weapon against him. A conflicted judge gave him the maximum sentence. He lost a decade behind concrete and razor wire. Was it worth it? Jeremy says yes. He'd do it again. But the question isn't really for him. It's for you. Because the next Jeremy Hammond is out there right now. Some kid in an apartment staring at a screen, wondering if the truth is worth everything. And after what you just learned, what would you tell them? If you want to see how another hacker took down an even bigger target without ever getting caught, watch this next, because that story makes Stratfor look like a warm-up.